Welcome to Exploring Music. This lesson is all about musical fundamentals. So we're going to spend time learning the language of music, the patterns that make music work, and we're going to experience a lot of different instruments to hear how music moves through different voices, including our own. So before we get started, I want you to turn on your listening ears, because we're going to do lots of listening today. And also print off or download the supplemental materials that I've attached to this video. We have a lot of different activities and I want to make sure that you have what you need before we begin. At the end of the lesson, we're going to take everything that we've learned and make up a song together. So, are you ready to explore some music? Let's get started. What is music? How would you describe music? What words come to mind when you think of the elements of music? Take a second and think about it. I think of sound. I think of notes, songs, melody, pitch, rhythm. A lot of different elements come together in the creation of music. So let's start with our musical alphabet. In Western music, we have an alphabet of 7 different letters that we use to describe all the sounds, whether they're low, high, or in between, and all the instruments. These 7 letters are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Say that with me. Here we go. We're just going to say our note names. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Let's hear what those notes sound like on a variety of different instruments. I'll play my piano, we'll sing the note, you'll hear my guitar and a cello. Let's sing and hear those notes. Listen and try and match the pitch that you hear with your voice. Here we go. Starting with A. A. B. C. Are there only 7 sounds in all of music? No, there are a lot more sounds than just 7, but we use these 7 letters as one way of defining and describing those sounds. So let's take your voice and discover another way. Sing the lowest note that you can. La. Now sing the highest note that you can. Now discover the range that you have in your voice. That's the distance between the low and the high. Here we go. Your range are all the notes that you have in your voice. And all instruments in music have their own range. Here's an example of some low notes. And here's an example of some high notes. have range because music happens in cycles. We'd go through our 7 letters and 7 notes and then start over, only this time the notes have a higher sound. That's how we go from low to high. And these cycles are called octaves. Say that with me. Octaves. Octave is for the 8th note. Oct. Same sound, only it's only one octave higher. Here is an example of octaves on all my instruments. I want you to try and sing through these different octaves of the same note with your own voice to feel the difference between low and high. Middle. C and high. C. Cycles or octaves are just one of many different musical patterns. And each musical instrument has its own unique system of patterns in getting from low notes to high notes and expressing music. So let's look at the piano keyboard and see how that expresses some of our musical patterns. This is our piano keyboard. Take a second and notice what you see. You see white keys, black keys. What patterns do you notice? Musical patterns exist on the keyboard differently from how they exist on every other instrument. Each instrument is unique. On the keyboard, each key is its own sound. Listen. On our keyboard, only the white keys are given letter note names. The black keys are sounds in between those notes. Let's say the names of our notes while following along on our keyboards. Use your pointer finger to press on each key as we go up. Use the print off of the keyboard that's attached to this video, or if you have your own keyboard, that's fine too. Now instead of starting with A, let's start with C. Every C is the key that's to the left of our 2 black key pattern. Here's a C. Here's a C. Here's another C down low. Can you find your C's? Here we go. Let's sing our notes as we play. C, D, E, F, G. And now our alphabet cycle starts over with A, B. And now we hit our high octave C again. Can you do that by yourself? Here we go. The same thing. Use your finger to follow along on a keyboard, whether paper or real, and sing the note names out loud. Try to match the pitch with your voice while saying the name. You'll hear my piano playing the notes as we go. And here we go. We're going to do that again. Ready? Here is C. Now say the letters as we go up. C. C. Did you get it? Okay. Now, excellent. Now, we want to learn the pattern of sound that takes us from octave to octave in this way that sounds pleasant and happy. That pattern is called the scale. Can you say that? The scale. Our major scale pattern lets us create the same relationship of sound between the notes, no matter what key or note we begin on. Here's our C major scale. We've just heard it. Let's listen again. Listen to the relationship between the notes. Our major scale pattern lets us create the same relationship of sounds between the notes, no matter what key or note we begin the pattern on. We did C to C. We could start on A to A or G to G, and it will sound the same because the relationship, the distance between each note, is the same. This pattern of relationships of distance goes like this. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Try and say that with me. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now, what does that mean? Those are letters that represent the relationship between notes of our scale. Remember how I said the black keys are the sounds in between our letter note names? They are our half steps. They get us halfway there. And so if you put two half steps together, where do we get? A whole step. That's the W. So we've got the half plus another half. That's a whole step. Try putting your fingers on two keys on your keyboard that are just a half step apart. Did you place your fingers on one white key and one black key? Now find two notes that are a whole step apart. Did you put your fingers on two white keys? How about two black keys? That is also a whole step. It's all about how the notes relate to one another. Let's sing some half steps and hear how close they are and hear what they sound like. La, la. Here's a half step a little higher. La. Can you hear how close they are? Here's something higher. La. Now some whole steps. La, 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 la. Now, I bet you're curious about this gap here between B and C, and here between E and F. Those are letter notes that are only a half step apart. Same here, 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 and here. Like I said, patterns. Now we can see how our major scale pattern, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, takes us from one octave to the next. And we can see that especially on C. I'll show you. Notice the distance between the notes. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And there's my high octave and the low octave. I can continue this lower through to get from each cycle to the next. That's our main pattern, the major scale. Now, we also want to discover how sounds sound together. That's the main thing, right? Is listening. Now, when you're with one of your friends, do you like to do things that are unique to just the two of you together? When we play two notes together, it's the same kind of thing. The relationship between those two notes is unique. Let's play a game. We're going to start on C, and we'll play each of the other notes in its major scale. I want you to listen closely. Turn on your ears. Hear the interval. That means the relationship between those two notes, the distance, the way they sound together. And I want you to think of what it sounds like to you. Come up with a descriptive word. Listen and describe. You can write those descriptions down. You can use words like what sounds blue or red, like colors. You can use words of feelings like happy, peaceful, sad, or any other words that come to your mind. So, are you ready to play? Turn on your ears. Let's listen to these intervals. I will play each one with our starting note. How does that sound to you? How about that? Here's the next note of the scale. Can you sing with me as we go along? Use your voice to start to explore some of these relationships. Here's really high. And here's our octave. We've discovered a lot of things in music already, and most of what we've learned has been about the sounds of music, the note names, the major scale, intervals, octaves, the pitch. Now we're going to learn about rhythm, and we're going to start to kind of feel that in our bodies. Rhythm is notes in time. It's how long or short a note is. Can you sing a few long notes? Let's do that together. Long notes, long. Let's go for some short notes. Really short notes. One more time. Really short notes. If we've got rhythm and we've got the sound of the notes, we've got a song. So let's make some music together and use our bodies to keep our beat. The beat is the steady pulse of music that starts at the beginning and goes into the end. We have our heartbeat as the pulse in our bodies. So let's take our hands and just gently pat your chest. This is going to be the beat of our music. We can make our beat really fast, or we can slow it down. Really slow. I think let's choose a beat that's kind of steady, right in the middle. Now we want to take the rest of our body and give it a job to do, so let's go ahead and stand up if you can. And if you're seated, bring your other hand in to pat on your legs. And we're going to actually march. So I'll start with my left foot. Here we go. Left, right. And this is our steady marching beat. This won't change no matter how long or short our notes are. Now I'm going to give you a rhythm. Long, short, long. Sing that with me. One more time. Here we go. Long, short, long. There we go. That's it. Now this is the rhythm that we're going to keep and make a song to. All our notes will be in this rhythm. Long, short, long. I made a big jump there, but don't worry about that. So I'm going to use all the notes of our major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We're going to use those sounds. La, da, 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 da. I might put some words to those sounds. Going up and almost there, here. Something like that. We're just going to play with musical sounds in rhythm, and we're going to do what's called a call and response. Now, if you've stopped keeping your beat, go ahead and start it up again. Here we go. That's right. I want you to hear the little melody that I sing and sing it back. I'm going to improvise over our notes. Are you ready to begin? Sing after me and try and match the pitch. Keep the rhythm in the beat. And let's just make some music. Here we go. I'm using the notes of our scale. Going up. Sing that. Going up. Going up. Going up. Call and response. So you sing back. Going down. This is you. Going down. Your turn. All right, now I'm going to use some intervals. Let's hear some bigger skips. Going high, going high. Can you make that jump? Here we go. Almost there. Keep that rhythm going. To the sky. That was our octave. We just sang all the notes of our scale from beginning to end in a nice little melody and sequence, and we made something of a song. Now let's improvise. I'm not going to sing actual words. I'm going to make up some notes and some sounds, keeping the same rhythm. We're going to call and response, so just follow along with me. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Da da da. Da da da. Da da da. Da da da. Now I'll start that over. Da da da. Da da da. Da da da. Da da da. Da da. Okay, great. Now, that's just a little idea. You did a wonderful job singing along with me, and I hope you've had a good time. Just that little improvisation at the end where I made up notes and didn't have words to them. Imagine what could happen if we actually put words to them. I am here, whatever you want. Tell a story with your own voice using these things that we've learned. You've got note names, you've got the sound, you've got intervals, you've got rhythm. Now you can make music. I want you to have a good time exploring music a little more on your own. Take these ideas, make a song with your friend or someone you know, and just have fun exploring. Bye!